to grab your keys. I am very appreciative for each and every one of you tuning in today. We have a fabulous friend and guest and mortgage queen on with me today. Jill Underwood is the CEO of Your Mortgage Queen, and she is definitely royalty. So, Jill, thank you so much for being on with us today.
It's truly my pleasure. Thank you.
I had the honor of meeting you probably over a year ago. We
Mm.
were in California, and I was so happy that you flew in early and we ran into each other and really got to spend some time with each other. Why don't you tell everyone how you got into this mortgage business?
Well, I certainly didn't predict it. But when I was growing up, my mom was a real estate agent. And, when I have a lot of older brothers and sisters, and so they were all like gone. And so I had a lot of time with just me and mom. And she taught me about what she did. She taught me about negotiating and putting people together. And she was a fabulous real estate agent. So I wanted to be a realtor like
Right.
her. And back then, in order to get your broker license to open a real estate office, which was our goal at the time, you had to either have the experience or a college degree. So I went to college, and to this day, I am degreed in real estate
Wow.
from Richland Junior College in Dallas, Texas. We never opened our real estate office together, but what happened when I was learning about real estate and mortgage, the mortgage class just spoke to me.
Right.
Um, I'm really good at math. So that part was easy. And it was fascinating to me to learn how FHA and VA started, back in the 1930s. And I just absolutely loved it. And so when I turned in my final exam of that class, the instructor was a senior vice president at Fort Worth Mortgage. And of course, she was friends with my mom. And so I turned in my exam and said, "Will you hire me?" And I interviewed, and I'm pretty sure that the only reason I got the job was because she knew my mom. So I had to show up and shine. And I did. I worked really hard and I came up the ranks. I literally started in this business in 1981 as a receptionist at Fort Worth Mortgage in Richardson, Texas.
Right.
And so I went up the ranks, and I've been a loan originator out on the streets since the 1980s because that's just my passion.
Right.
Just helping the people and listening to their goals and their dreams and just helping them to get where they want to be, which is into a home for their families. It's my passion.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. What do you think, besides having a passion for what you're doing, obviously, because I loved how eloquently you spoke on that, what or do you think the three keys to success are?
The three keys to success for me.
Yeah, for you, yes.
First of all, what I have learned over the course of my adult years is that nothing in this world is about me. Everything is about everyone except me. And if I can help other people get what they want, then it just, it comes back. But it's not about me. It's about me last,
Right.
everyone else first.
Love that.
Um, Second, I believe that I am put on this earth to help people and to shine and to make people laugh. If I have a day where I haven't made somebody laugh, then my day is not over. So
Okay.
I just believe that it's important just to bring joy and laughter to people.
It's
And
the soul.
and third, which is very businessy for me, it's all about my pre-approval letter. When you get to every real estate agent in the nation, when you see a pre-approval letter with my name on the bottom of it, you know that I have done my due diligence. I have reviewed the credit. I have reviewed the income. I have, run it through the first level of approval, because I'm not going to send somebody out to fall in love with their dream home and then, oh, oops, we forgot to ask this question, or oops, we didn't pull credit. No, 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 no. We can't do that. So when you see my pre-approval letter, it is solid as a rock, unless somebody dies or loses their job, because we can't control that. So
Right. And how often, let's just chat about that for 1 minute. How often do we see approval letters out there from other companies and other loan officers that aren't worth the paper that they're written on. And then when you are really qualifying them because the listing agent asked you to check them out or something, and you're like, wow, um, did you know that they have a late payment on their mortgage and you're not going to be able to run that through to you in the last 12 months? I
Yeah.
mean, did you notice, that this person hasn't had continuous employment for 2 years and there's a 6-month gap? Like, did you notice, different things that people just don't realize? It is not easy to get a mortgage. It is, I always tell people, it's like flying a plane and you need to be the pilot and you need to know when turbulence comes, how you're going to get that flight from point A to point B safely. Even if there's turbulence, you're not going to crash and burn. And with your pre-approval letter, everyone knows that you're not going to crash and burn.
That's right. And, and I saw that 2 weeks ago, and I was mortified because it was one of those situations where one of the borrowers had some disability income for a child. Well, the first question that we ask is, how old is the child? Well, the child is 17. That means there's 1 year remaining, and you can't count
Right.
that. And I was just mortified for the clients and the real estate agents, and they were so disappointed. Oh my God, this couple was so in love with this darling little house, and I was mortified, but I just had to tell them, I would never have sent you out looking right now. I would have told you to do this, this, and this, and call me in 6 months. And so it's unfortunate. So the moral of that story for me is, hello, loan originators, please, please, please do your due diligence, because the ending of that story, Sue, is that the loan officer was very flippant, and even the team leader of the team was very flippant with the real estate agent. They literally said the words, it's only a pre-approval letter. No, it's somebody's life on the line. Right.
It is. And it can be a chain reaction for so much.
Yeah.
For sure. How do you make people laugh every day?
Oh, honey, that's easy. What part of what my mama taught me is just to really make people feel at ease. And so for me, it's just talking Texan like I just fall into
Right.
doing. It's like, oh girl, you just made my whole dang day,
Right.
just giving kudos to somebody, just telling someone that they're a light, or telling somebody, oh, Sue, you do look amazing today. You look so pretty. Your hair is awesome.
Yeah, that's
You
so
know,
nice. It's just, I love talking to you, Jill.
it's
You're
just, you got to
right.
give people kudos, and I tell young people like in their 20s, first time home buyers in their 20s, maybe even young 30s, that really have their finances together. I mean, some of these kids have saved a lot of money. They've got a teeny bit of credit, so they got a good credit score. And you know what I tell them? I am so proud of you. It's like, Mark, I am so proud of you. You have done so good.
And
Bless you.
these 20 somethings you need to tell them that you're proud of them because they're doing a really good job in a really difficult economy, and they're just learning. And we have to help them, guide them through that budget process and buying their first house so that they do build wealth.
Yeah. And I think everybody, even I need somebody to tell me that they're proud of me every now and then. My man needs to hear, I am so proud of my man and all that he's done and accomplished, and just, the coolness that he is. I think everybody needs it. So, and that's all part of just relationships. We have to nurture the relationships of the people that we love so much. It's not just our clients, it's also the people that are right here having dinner with us every night.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely love that. And when you say everyone except you really illustrate that between number one and number two. So you're saying everyone but you because you're making everyone else shine around you.
Mm. That's what gives me joy.
Right.
I want people to shine.
Yeah, I love that.
Mhm.
So, how did you come up with the mortgage queen?
I actually didn't. About 5 years ago, there's a friend of mine in the business, And we were talking one day, and he said, "You should be the mortgage queen, brand yourself as the mortgage queen." And I was like, "Oh, dude, no, that's like so cheesy." And so it rolled around in my brain for a couple of weeks. And one day I thought, that's kind of clever. And then the next day I would think, "Oh, no way, it's too cheesy." And then finally I just said, "All right, let's do it." And so I started to brand myself as the mortgage queen, and I had these caricatures drawn, and the mortgage queen was in, she was in a Santa outfit at Christmas. She was in a pilgrim outfit at, Thanksgiving. She was holding red flowers for Valentine's Day. So I had her at every holiday. She had on this outfit and always the sash that said the mortgage queen. Now, when I started my company a year ago, it's been almost a full year. Yay, yay.
Yay,
Yay,
congratulations.
yay. But when I started my company, the first assignment that the business guy gave me was come up with a name. And I lost 2 weeks of my life trying to come up with a name.
Coming up
And
with a
then
name is a difficult thing. I came up with Centennial Lending Group. It is a
it's
difficult thing.
hard, you know? But I gotta tell you, one of my girlfriends in our coaching group, she and I were on a Zoom call one day, and I was like, "Man, I'm just so struggling with this." And she looked at me and she leaned in and she said, "Jill, don't let me sit over here and watch you mess this up. You're the mortgage queen." And I was like, "That's it." so,
That's it.
so I just went with that. But it's interesting because it is memorable. And I think no matter what industry you're in, whether, personal or business, it's important to be memorable. So that's how I came up with the mortgage queen. Somebody else did it for me.
Right. Well, in addition to, I want to touch on a couple things that you said. So you touched on being memorable, which is about branding yourself. So you've done a great job of branding yourself as the mortgage queen. So that
Thank you.
is fantastic. Being on social media is fantastic. One of the things you said though is that you were talking to someone who's in coaching with you. How important do you think coaching is as a person in your profession?
I think that coaching is outstanding. I have been in some type of coaching program really throughout my entire career. The first coaching that we ever had, which was actually back in, the late 1980s, was Jim Pratt, who then hired Todd Duncan. That was the first coaching that I was exposed to. But the thing about coaching is that it's one thing to do it, it's one thing to pay for it. But if you're not doing the work,
You're not
then
doing
don't
it.
even bother. And the beauty of the work is to help you grow. We have to stay in a growth mindset and
Mhm.
not just a stagnant mindset. And that's where coaching has really helped me, especially this past year. It's been absolutely over the top enlightening, because what we have to find in our business is we have to find great clarity on exactly what we want. We have to figure out with, down to the every detail of what we want our future to look like. And that's what coaching has really helped me to do. And then you show up and do the work. You make the plan. And like right now, I just came back from a coaching retreat, and the first thing that I implemented is making one bold phone call a day. Just one. I just have to make one bold phone call. And so I started to do that. And
I
wow,
love
you know
that.
what? Yeah, and they go great. And so now, like at night, I think, okay, what's my one bold call tomorrow? What about the next day? So now I've got a list of bold calls. And you know what's going to happen? I'm going to end up doing 2 or 3 or 5 a day instead of just the one.
Yeah, that's amazing that your coaching has allowed you to have clarity, which allows you to have a focus so that you can execute
Mhm.
that. So
Yes.
just like what you said, just being at that retreat allowed you to probably get your business to the next level that you wanted to be at by just making that bold telephone call.
And so much of coaching too is I'm surrounding myself with people who are better than me, people who produce more, people who have knowledge in different sections than I do. And so just to take their knowledge and extract it and then figure out how I'm going to put that into my game plan it's really key. And so that's part of it too, is I've got to soar with a whole pack of eagles, not just soar with the eagle. I mean, it's a whole pack of them. And
Mhm.
that's what I love about it. I have met some of the most amazing peers in my industry, because sometimes it's like, when we're all in the same industry together, all in the same neighborhood together, and we all do the same job. And a lot of time there's, yeah, and life doesn't have to be that way. We can all be peers in the industry and help each other because there's enough to go around for all of us.
Yeah, so I agree with all of that, and I think that really coaching, especially coaching in a group, coaching as a tribe, really raises all of us up to be our best selves. And we are not all on an island by ourselves. We want to be with others, and this really allows somebody to call and say, "Hey, I'm having a bad day. Hey, let me show you, you know, this great event I went to. Hey, I just heard this great podcast and I want to share it with you." Like all of those great things happen, and that's it. That's so important, and you definitely do get that by coaching. And sometimes you have to dig deep and know that even in hard economic times, coaching is what you really need, because it does take you to the next level. So I feel that the time that you can't pay for the coaching is when you need the coaching the most.
Amen. Amen.
For sure.
And what you just said dig deep, because here's what I have learned is that every single person on the planet has had some shit happen in their life.
For
They've had
sure.
something bad happen, or something bad is happening now. And
No
I
one
can
gets
sense,
unscathed, gets out
right,
unscathed.
right. And we have to acknowledge that. And I think that there's so many people, and I've done this too, that we just live every day with that crap in our heart and in our head. And we have to change the way our brain thinks. We have to take the negative, and we have to turn it into a positive inside of our own brain. Coaching is huge for me on that level as well. You got to really dig deep, figure out what's holding you back, and push through it so that you can create the life that you've always wanted.
Absolutely. I agree with you
Mhm.
wholeheartedly. You know that for sure. What's one challenge that you have faced that's helped shape who you are today?
One challenge, just one.
Yeah.
You want me to narrow
I
it
always
down to
feel that
one?
our challenges allows us to get to that higher level, which we just talked about. So what's one of those challenge? I mean, we all deal with challenges every day. But
Mhm,
what's a
yeah.
challenge you'd be willing to share with us?
Okay, this was probably my biggest one, life to date. I was married for almost 20 years, and we had the happiest life on the planet, or so I thought. That was my truth. Everybody was happy. And then it all crumbled. One day, we just got knocked off of that pedestal, and my life came a tumbling down, and my heart was broken. Of course, we had the big divorce, selling of all the stuff. And then I had to learn how to pick my broken heart up
Yeah,
off the floor and mend it back together and get back to work. I had to pull up my bootstraps like I have never had to pull up my bootstraps before, because it crushed my self-esteem and
right.
it crushed my self-confidence. And everything that we do in life, we really have to have those qualities on some level.
Yes, for sure.
And it took me years and years and years to recover from that in my heart and in my head, because in my head I wasn't worthy anymore. In my head I wasn't worthy of love. In my head, I was just not, right?
For
And
sure.
that really took me down for a long time. I don't know how I did loans during that time, but I did. But now that I have crushed through that barrier, I'm my old, sassy self again.
Yeah, I love that.
And
Yeah,
but
I
but
love
what
that.
what happens sometime in life, especially for women, I can only speak to women. Um, but so much of what happens in our life is, we get married, we have kids, we're a mom, we're a wife. I was a stepmom, PTA vice president,
Right.
driving the kids around, and all of those hats that you have to wear.
So
And
many.
somewhere along the way, we lose the real us, our real spirit. And
Right.
so after that, I literally sat down and said, okay, who is the real Jill and where did she go? Because she was one who would make people laugh every day. And I really had to find myself again. And
Yeah, you
so
needed to dig deep.
Yeah, we have to dig deep so that because we can create anything we want and we are responsible for our own either happiness or misery, right?
Totally.
I
And
choose
that
happy.
that rings true to a lot of women, I feel. Like we all get caught up in the getting married, having kids. You somewhat lose yourself and then you have to remind yourself of who you are so that you can give it to everybody else. And wearing all those hats is hard because sometimes you forget what hat you're supposed to be wearing and you're like a manager when you're supposed to be a mom, and it's just a little crazy, a little
Mhm.
kookaloo sometimes. I always say I had a 5-ring circus when my kids were little. Or 3, 5.
Yes.
And I think that you need to have your confidence and your self-esteem to say also if you need help, that that's okay.
Yeah. Agreed.
Even as a mortgage person, an owner of a company, a manager of a division, I think it's okay to say it that you don't need to do it all. That if you need help, that's okay. I feel that delegation is huge as a woman in this mortgage arena.
Yeah. And sometimes it's hard to ask for help. That was one of my biggest struggles, and it goes back to my childhood.
Mhm.
But, asking for help is not a sign of weakness.
No.
It's a sign more of strength. And I need to get stronger. And can you help me?
Right. Right. I love that. Yeah, I love that. How do you see the industry evolving today and where do you hope to be with it?
Our industry is a ever a changing now, isn't it? I believe that we are about to see a lot of very interesting changes. I think that it is going to continue to get tougher, and only the tough will survive. I believe that, AI is a big part. I think that AI helps us more than it hinders us.
Mhm.
I think that, and I'm amazed at the number of people in our industry who have not embraced social media. We have to embrace socials. We have to embrace videos. People need to hear my voice
Right.
and what the mortgage queen sounds like on the internet in a video before they're going to pick up the phone and call.
I
You
agree.
know, now back in the olden days, if somebody referred you, the first thing they did was got out the yellow pages um, to see if you were in the yellow pages, right?
Right.
Where is this company, right? Where are
Right.
you in the phone book?
Absolutely. Or if you were
And
in the Better Business Bureau. For
yes,
sure. Yeah.
yes. And now with the internet, if somebody refers me, the first thing they do is Google me. I'm actually, Sue, this is kind of interesting. And I think that this is probably a new wave as well. People are finding me with a Google search.
Sure.
I've probably had 7 in the past maybe week and a half of people that have called me and reached out because they found me without a referral. They just found me in a search. And I
It's
think that,
interesting.
Mhm.
Ask Chat GPT who they would use for a mortgage in your area.
Oh, okay, that's brilliant. I will totally do that.
I just did
So,
that this weekend. So yeah, you're totally right. And you need to get on all the social media platforms so that the
mhm,
logarithm gets you to the top line.
yeah. But, I think the bottom line too in our industry is that no matter what happens, people still wanna buy a home and people
Absolutely.
still need the money to do it. And even though there is a very large percentage of people that can pay cash for a home, there's still a bigger percentage that cannot. And so we
Absolutely.
will always be needed in my mind.
I
Always, always, always.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to ask you, what's a piece of advice that you could use today that you would tell your younger self?
One piece of advice that I would tell my younger self, be bold every single day and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't listen to the people who say no. Don't listen to the people who tell you, "Oh, that's a crappy idea." Just I've learned that you have to be uniquely you. My style is completely different than everybody else's because I am the only
Mortgage.
Jill that's me on the planet, right? And just lean into that and and to dovetail on that, when life knocks you off of your pedestal, the faster you get back up, the better off you're gonna be in the long term.
I love that.
You gotta do it fast.
You have to do it
Mm,
fast.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
you're gonna get knocked down. It's just a fact of
You
life.
do.
You're gonna get knocked down.
Mhm.
And that's okay, because that's when you learn the most. What is in the future for the mortgage queen, Jill?
Well, Sue, right now I'm working on legacy. I really truly want my company to grow at a slow pace. I have no interest in being the fastest growing on the planet. I just want to grow because I want people to feel the same way that I do about culture. I want people to feel the same way that we are here to serve and we do the right thing by others, that we follow the rules, that we are completely compliant in all areas. And that will take us to the next level. But I really want my company to sustain a 50 or 60-year career in this industry. One of our grocery stores here locally just celebrated their 100th anniversary.
Oh,
And I
great.
thought, 100 years, how can I make that happen? Of course, I won't be here then, but
Right.
I'm creating legacy now so that we can continue to help people realize their dreams of owning a home.
Yeah, it's so amazing. It's so great. Thank you so much for giving us a little piece of you and sharing with us today. And I think that everything that you said was so inspiring.
Oh.
And if people want to get in touch with Jill Underwood, the mortgage queen, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, I'm pretty easy to find on socials. My email address, you're welcome to have it, is Jill at yourmortgagequeen.net. My website, yourmortgagequeen.net. I'm on all the socials, and yeah, I
You
would
are.
love to help you in every way that I possibly can.
Super. And what state are you in?
I live in Missouri. I live in Kansas City. Go Chiefs.
Go
We're very
Chief.
big football fans here. And I'm licensed right now in Missouri, of course, in Kansas. We've got that state line thing happening.
Right.
Texas, because I'm from Texas. Florida, because I might want to live in Florida someday.
Right.
And I've got a few others that are coming forth that I'm waiting on approvals right now.
Okay, super. Well, we are so excited that you shared so much with us today. And everyone, thank you so much for listening.
Yay.
Please share and like, and we will see you next time on Grab Your Keys.